So today we're going to be solving the term 2 week 3 math AMS quiz. It's not that hard. Now let's start. For this first question, there's a way to solve it using derivatives. Now, many people, they missed the lesson where derivatives were explained, and many people, the teachers, didn't give it yet. So I'm going to explain it using a different way until Tariq, because Tariq is going to make another video explaining derivatives. Until he makes a video, he's gonna re-explain this question in that video, how to solve it using derivatives. Now I'm gonna solve it in a different way that has nothing to do with derivatives for now, until he makes that video. Now, let's start. So first of all, we need to find the x-intercept. For the x-intercept, it's the point where the line touches the x-axis. So as we can see, it's at -3. So remember when we used to do the squared function, the one that's a parabola, we used to say whenever it's -3, you make it +3, because it's whatever makes this 0. So here, you need to make it whatever, this is whatever makes it 0. So x plus 3. You flip the sign. And look, if it was passing through the origin, it would just be x plus 3 cubed. But since it's not only passing through the origin, it's this. Because like how I'm solving it right now is by the process of cancelling. Like I said, until Tariq makes that video, he's going to re-explain this question using derivatives. So this is x minus 3, and this is x minus 3, so we can't have any of these two options. And since it's not passing through the origin like this, it cannot be x plus 3 cubed. So it has to be this one. It has to be this option. Okay, so now the next question. Here, there's a way I find the easiest to solve it in, not using radicals, because many people get confused the minute we use radicals. So listen, given sine is radical 3 over 2. Which of the following is equal to theta? Sine theta equals this. Which of the following equals theta? Here we have options. Now, look, for each option, I'm just going to write over here what they want it to be. Radical 3 over 2. Now, for each option, I'm going to convert it to degrees. Now, we must memorize that always. Sine 60 is equal to this. This, you have to memorize it. And whenever you see sine 60 is equal to something, you will always have to do, because any sine and its supplement, any angle and its supplement have the same sign. What does supplement mean? The continuing of it to 180. So sine 120 also equals the same thing. So now we know it's sine 60 and sine 120. And because we also need the negatives of these, but we can't use negatives. So what do you have to do? So you're going to add to these angles, each one of these, you're going to add 360. So sine 60 plus 360. And when you put it in your calculator, even though we're not allowed them in the exam, if we were allowed calculators, just make your calculator into radians and put everything in your calculator, you'd get the answer immediately. So sine 420 and sine, 120 plus 360, and sine 480 all equal this. So now we need to find what answers are these. So let's see. -2 pi over 3. -2 pi over 3 times, we need to convert from radians to degrees. So you're doing 180 over pi. Cancel pi with pi. 3 with 180 becomes 60. This is -120. Is -120 an angle that gives you radical 3 over 2? No, it's not. Let's try this one. 7 pi over 3 times 180 over pi. This is 60. 7 times 60, it's 420. Is 420 one of the angles that give us radical 3 over 2? Yes, it is. 2 pi over 3 times 180 over pi. Sixty times 2 is 120. Is it 120 one of the angles that give us radical 3 over 2? Yes, it is. Negative pi over 3. I'm gonna tell you it from now. It's gonna equal to negative 60. So negative 60. Is it an angle? No, it's not. Now radical 3 over pi, the normal one, is gonna be 60. Let me just solve it really quick. And it is one of our angles that make the radical. So for these types of questions, they're always going to give you one known angle. It could either be 0, 30, 45, or 90. For these ones, you have to memorize, and 180, you have to memorize their sines and their cosines and their tangents. For the rest, after you get one of them, you do 180 minus that one, you get your second angle. These two angles, you add 360 to them, and that's your other two angles. And that's how you solve any question like this. Now, okay. Which of the following has a graph that's symmetric about the origin? Whenever they tell you symmetric about the origin, it only means one thing. When it's symmetric about the origin, it means that it's an odd function. It's odd. And what's an odd function? An odd function is a function where f of x equals, f of negative x equals negative f of x. What that means is when you substitute a number instead of x and you substitute the same number but negative, you're gonna get the same answer. What I like to do for this type of questions, I like actually substituting real numbers instead of just substituting x. So let's substitute the number 2. It's my favorite number to substitute because it's usually the easiest. Let's start. So y equals 2 over 4 plus 2 times, actually let me write it like 2x squared plus 2 into 2, which is 2 over 4 plus 4. So that's gonna equal 2 over 8. Now we have to try it again, but with negative 2. So let's see. Negative 2 over negative 2 squared plus 2 into negative 2. It's going to be equal to negative 2 over 4 minus 4, which either way is undefined because you can't have 0 in the denominator. This is negative 2 over 0. This is also undefined, so impossible, this answer. So now let's try the next one. And let's see 2 over 2 squared plus 1 is 2 over 5. And now let's try negative. So negative 2 over negative 2 squared plus 1 is also negative 2 over 5. That's what your answer should be. So that when you substitute x and it's negative, you should get the same answer except once it's positive, once it's negative. That's what an odd function means. Now let's move on. 2 times 2 into 2 squared plus 1, 4 over 5. Let's see that one. If you substitute negative 2 now, you should get negative 4 over 5. Let's see if we get it. 2 over times negative 2 over negative 2 squared plus 1. You're gonna get negative 4 over 5. Are these two answers the same but opposite signs? Yes, then your answer is correct. Or then your function is odd. Let's try the third one, or the fourth one. 2 cubed over 2 squared plus 1. This is 8 over 5. Now let's try negatives. Negative 2 cubed over negative 2 squared plus 1. You're gonna get negative 8 over 5. Now these are the same answer yet opposite. Now let's try the last one. 2 squared over 2 squared plus 1. 4 over 5. Is it the same as, or is it the same but opposite sign as negative 2 squared over negative 2 squared plus 1? This is 4 over 5. Since you have the same answer here twice, this is an even function, not odd. Here they want symmetric about the origin, meaning odd. Now, that's how you solve this question. Now we have another question that's about even numbers. Here, whenever they tell you symmetric about the y-axis, it means even. Now, let's start solving. What does even mean? Before I start, even means that f of negative x equals f of x. So that means when you put any number and it's negative, you're gonna get the same answer. So that when you put negative 2 or 2, you're gonna get the same answer. Let's try. So 2 over 2 squared plus 1. You get 2 over 5, right? Let's see, when you put negative 2 over negative 2 squared plus 1, you get negative 2 over 5. See, you did not get the same answer. You got the same answer but opposite signs, so it is wrong. This is an odd function. For even function, both of them should be negative 2 over 5. Let's try with this one. 2 cubed over 2 squared plus 1. You get 8 over 5. Let's try with the other, with negative. Negative 2 cubed over negative 2 squared plus 1. This is negative 8 over over 5. That's the same answer but opposite sign, so again it's odd, not even. This one, let's try it again. 2 over 2 squared plus 2x. Now plus 2, not x, sorry, 2 into 2. So it's 2 over 8. Now let's try with negative. Negative 2 over negative 2 squared plus 2 into negative 2. We're gonna get negative 2 over 4 plus, or 4 minus 4, which is negative 2 over 0. This is an what's it called? Undefined number. It's over 0. You can't have any fraction over 0. This is wrong. This isn't odd nor even. It's not a function. Or either way, you can't put negative 2 as an answer. Now let's try this one. 1 over 2 squared plus 1 is 1 over 5. Now let's try negative. 1 over negative 2 squared plus 1 is 1 over 5. Did you get the same answer twice? Yes, you did. So this is an even function. Let's try this one. 2 squared over 2 squared plus 1. So 4 over 5. Let's try with negative. So negative 2 squared over negative 2 squared plus 1. You get 4 over 5. You got the same answer twice. Then your answer is even. Your function is even. Your answer is correct. You choose it. Now let's move on. Okay, for this question we have a scatter plot. So what we know about scatter plots is that here they're gonna give us the best fit line. Okay, now let's see what they want. The correlation in the scatter diagram is strong and negative. What does strong mean? Strong means that all your points are surrounding this line. It means that all your points, they're not like, look, a weak correlation would be like this. But strong correlation would be like this, where they're all in the same place, let's say. So here, since they're all like in this area, it's a strong correlation. And if they're all going downwards, like if they're decreasing as you increase, like if the y is decreasing as much as you increase the x, when you increase the x, if the y is decreasing, it's negative. If they were going like this, then that would be positive. So it's strong and negative. Now, let's move on. They want us the equation of the best fit line. Okay, for this part, it needs some solving. So for the best fit line, you need to find the equation, meaning, I don't know if you remember this formula from grade 8, y equals mx plus b. You need to write it in this form and then move it around to the form they want. So let's find the slope first, and then we can find the rest. To find the slope, you need to use the slope theorem, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. X and y are points you choose. Now look, you always have to choose the points that are in the middle, like on an axis. So here, there's only two that are touching like the line and on a point. 12 and 90 is your first 2 points you're gonna choose. And 20 and 60 is your second 2. Now, to find the slope, we said y1, which is, you choose which one's y2, minus y1, which is 60, over the x2 has to be the one with the y you chose. So 12 minus 20. You're gonna get 30 over negative 8. When you simplify it, it's gonna be negative 15 over 4. So that's your your slope. Okay? So now we take our slope and we take it down so we can finish the equation. Slope equals negative 15 over 4. Now we want to find b, since it's y equals mx plus b. We found m, but now we have to find b. How do we find b? We use this equation, y minus y0 equals m x minus x0. We took this before. So what that means is you have to choose one of your 2 points that you found. I'm gonna choose 12 and 90. Okay, you choose one of these. And now you substitute them. So y0 means y and x0 means x. You don't replace them with anything. So 90 minus y equals m, which is your slope. So negative 15 over 4 into 12 minus x. I'm gonna rewrite the slope up there. So negative 15 over 4. Now what you do is you keep this and you distribute the negative 15 over 4. So negative 15 over 4 times 12 is negative 45 minus, or well, minus make plus, so plus 15 over 4 x. Now you need to shift everything around. So negative y, you need to keep y on one side. Negative y equals negative 45 plus 15 over 4x minus 90. We need to put like terms together. So negative y equals 15 over 4x minus 135. Now you need to make the y positive. So y equals 15 over 4x, negative 15 over 4x plus 135. Now you'd say we have our equation in y equals mx plus b. But now what do they want? They want the best fit line where you have x and y on the same side and y has a coefficient of 4. What that means is you have to move your x to this side and multiply everything by 4. So 15 over 4, I'm going to multiply later. So 15 over 4 plus y equals 135. They want it in this form and multiplied everything by 4. So now you get 15x plus 4y equals 135 times 4 is 540. And that's your final answer. That's how you get this part. So again, what we did, first you find the slope, then you need to find b by using this equation, and in this equation you take any one of the 2 points you used, any one of the 2 coordinates you used for your slope, and you replace it in the way I did here, all that, and then you have to put like terms together, and then you have to put y, make it positive, then you rewrite the equation in any form they want it in, and if they want you to multiply any one of the values in your equation, you multiply them all by the same number you multiplied one of them in. Here they multiplied it by 4 to get rid of the fraction, by the way. Now, based on the best fit line, what's the expected score if a person spends 12 hours watching TV on the week of the test? So look, what you have to do is, you go to 12 hours, you go up, until you reach the point where the line is, and then you go to the left, and that's your answer, 90. See? And now they want the modal letter. What does the modal letter mean? Here you have frequencies. Modal means the one with the most. So look, what we do here is I usually separate them. Okay, I separate them. This one is between 60 and 70, so this is your second modal class. Then you have one between 80 and between 70 and 80. Then you have one between 80 and 90. And then you have one between 90 and 100. Now you need to find which one of these segments has the most dots in it. Here you have 4 dots. Here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You probably have like somewhere around 11. Here you have only 3. Here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here you have 2. So meaning the one here between 80 and 90 has the most dots. It has the most points. So most people got between 80 and 90. And when you go down, the range between 80 and 90 corresponds with the letter B. So most students that did this exam, the modal letter is B. Most people got a B who did the exam. Let's move on. Okay, here we have to use our trigonometric equations. Now, so listen, there's 3 trigonometric ratios we need to memorize. First, I'm gonna write them all 3 here, but we're not gonna use them all 3 of them here. We're only gonna use one of them, but I'm gonna write them all 3 because we're gonna use them later on in the video. So let's start. First one we have to memorize is cosine squared of angle A. This angle could be X, A, anything you want. Plus sine squared of angle, I'm just gonna use the letter A for no reason, equals 1. That's identity 1. Now for equation 2, we have 1 plus tan 2A equals secant squared A. That's equation 2. Now equation 3 is cotangent squared A. A could be any angle, guys. It could be named anything. I just chose A. Equals plus 1 equals cosecant squared A. And those all 3 are your identities. Now let's see. In this question, they want secant and tangent. So for this question, we need this equation. We erase everything else. So now, using this equation, we cannot ever have secant and tangent. It's like having x and y and needing to solve. You can't. You need to make both of them either tangent or secant. What you do is you look at the one with the squared in it and you convert it to the other thing. Here, secant has the squared. So we know secant squared of, I'm going to replace it by x because here they're using x as their angle. Secant squared of x, we know it's equal to this. So we're going to replace secant squared x by this. So 1 plus tan squared x minus 22 tan x plus 20 equals 0. Now we can erase our equation and start solving using this. This is your new equation. Now guys, some people are gonna get confused when they see squared and tangent and whatever. Forget it's tangent, forget it's squared, forget it's anything. Imagine it was x and y. Imagine tan squared x is x and you need to solve. So we first take 20 and 1 and we add them. So tan squared x minus 22 tan x plus 21 equals 0. This is practically a quadratic function. It's just a normal function. So what you do here is what you do in normal functions when you have x. So this is x squared minus 22x plus 21. You have to factor it. That's it. So tan x minus, what two numbers when you multiply them give you 21 and when you add them give you negative 22? It's 21 and 1. This you have to keep testing around till you get the right one. Times tan x plus, minus 1. Now to check if your factoring is correct, you multiply these two. So you're gonna get here tan x plus negative 21 tan x. When you add them, so negative tan x plus negative 21 tan x is negative 22 tan x. Oops, I deleted something. It's fine, the brackets. Now that we have these, you need to find out what makes each bracket 0. So tan x minus 21 equals 0, so tan x equals 21. Tan x minus 1 equals 0, so tan x equals 1. So tan of x could either be 1 or 21. That's how you solve. Really easy. Now let's move on. Okay, so the symmetric image about the origin, which means it's we said odd function. What this means is that when you want to find the symmetric image of AB, it just turns into negative A, negative B, which means you just switch the signs. So here they gave you negative 6, negative 8. You just make it positive 6, positive 8. That's it. Moving on. Okay, for this question, they're asking us to find the vertical asymptote. How do you find the vertical asymptote? What you do is very simple. Vertical asymptote means whatever makes denominator 0. So 4x minus 40 equals 0. 4x equals 40. X equals 10. Easy. That's how you find your vertical asymptote. It's really simple. Now, moving on. Okay. So here, they want the horizontal asymptote, the vertical asymptote, y-intercept, x-intercept. So, for vertical asymptote, I like to start with it because it's the easiest. What makes the denominator 0? 2x minus 4 equals 0. 2x equals 4. X equals 2. So your vertical asymptote is 2. Now to find the horizontal asymptote, I have two ways to find it. First way is if you look at your two values that have an x with them. If it's 8x and 2x, what's the power of x? It's 1 and 1, right? If you have the same power, or like if it could be 2 and 2, but المهم if you have the same power, this is what you do. You take both coefficients of x, divide them by each other. That's your horizontal asymptote. Another way you could do it is by dividing both polynomials by each other. So 8x plus 120 minus 2x minus 4. Let me just make it more clear. 2x minus 4. And then you solve 8x divided 2x is 4. And then you multiply it. 4 minus 4 is negative 16. And 4 times 2 is 8x. And then you get 0 and negative, I don't know what 6? I know 4. 104, negative 104, and then that would be your answer. Personally, I prefer using the first way. It's way easier. Now, that's how you got the first two answers. Now, to find y-intercept means when x is 0, what is y? So you replace every time you see an x with 0. So 8 times 0 plus 120 over 2 times 0 plus 4. Which means you cancel, because 8 times 0 is 0 and 2 times 0 is 0. So you're left with 120 over 4 equals, wait, 120? Yeah. You're left with 120 over negative 4, which means negative 30 is your answer. That's it. Really simple. Now, for this one, find your x-intercept, which means when y is 0, what is x? If y is 0, it means your numerator is 0. It doesn't mean your denominator is 0. Your denominator can never be 0. So your numerator has to be the one equal to 0. So 0 equals 8x plus 120. Meaning 8x equals 120, equals negative 120, so x equals negative 15. And that's how you find x-intercept. Really easy. Moving on. Here you have a symmetric image about the y-axis, meaning it's an even function. When it tells you about the y-axis, it means that if you have a and b as your coordinates, you change the x. It becomes negative a, positive b. You only change a. You only change like the x in it. So you have negative 6, negative 8 becomes positive 6. You keep negative 8. And that's your answer. Moving on. Here we need to use the trigonometric equations again. Now, here you have the sine and the cosine. So we need to use the one for sine and cosine, which was cosine squared x plus sine squared x equals 1. Now, look. Like I said, you look at the one with squared in it, and that's the one that you change to the other one. But here you can't really change it unless you make it in terms of it. So here you just switch up your equation شوي. So cosine squared x equals 1 minus sine squared x. Now you forget the first identity and you use the second one. Now you replace anytime you see cosine squared x by 1 minus sine squared x. So 1 plus sine x equals negative 1 minus sine squared x. Now what you do is you distribute the negatives into it. So negative 1 plus sine squared x equals 1 plus sine x. Now we need to put them all onto one side and equal it to 0. So you put negative sine squared x plus sine x plus 1 equals 0. Plus 1 and plus 1 make it 2. So plus 2 equals 0. And anytime you see sine squared as negative, you flip the sign of everything in it. So you don't want to use your sine squared as negative. So you change this from negative to positive. Any positive, you change its sign, and so it becomes like this. So you divide the entire equation by negative. Now your entire equation, your sine squared x is positive. That's how it should be. Wait, I think... Never mind, no, I thought I did something wrong. So now we do the same thing, we factor. So sine x minus 2, let's say, into sine x minus 1 or plus 1 equals 0. Let's see if it's correct. So you have sine x plus negative 2 sine x, and that equals negative 1 sine x, so it's correct, negative sine x. So now sine x, to make this 0, it could either be 2 or it could either be negative 1 sine x. So sine x could be negative 1 or sine x could be 2, and that's how you solve. Every time you see sine x, tan x, cosine x, whatever, just make it act like it's an x. Act like it's a normal letter. Don't act like it's sine anything. Now again, here we need to use them again, but like almost in a different way. Let's start. So the one that relates sine and cosine, again we used it already. Cosine squared x equal plus sine squared x equals 1. Now look, we know that both of them are equal to 1, so that if we add the square of this and this, it's gonna equal 1. So cosine squared x equals 1 minus sine squared x. So we need to square this. So 3 over 5 squared is 9 over 25. So 1 minus 9 over 25 equals k over 25, which is cosine x squared. So 1, you can replace it by 25 over 25. 25 minus 9 equals k. 25 minus 9 is 16. So k equals 16. That's how you solve it. These are really easy. Now moving on. This is the exact same thing almost. Now let's solve it again. 1 plus tan x, this is our identity, tan squared x equals secant squared x. So we need to square this, which is 49 over 25. 1 plus 49 over 25 equals k over 25. Again, you can replace the 1 by 25 over 25. 25 plus 49 equals 74. So k equals 74. That's it. Now, let's move on to the next question. 2 questions left, I think. Okay. So here, they're giving us that sine squared x equals this. They want what's the value of 160 cosine squared x. Now, look. Let's write it again. Wait, so we know that sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1. Sine squared x is 3 over 8 plus cosine squared x equals 8 over 8. So 8 over 8 minus, so cosine squared x equals 8 over 8 minus 3 over 8, which is 5 over 8. Easy? So now you replace the cosine x by 5 over 8. So 160 times 5 over 8. 8 will go with the 160 and become 20. So 20 times 5 equals 100. That's it. That's how you solve. Now let's move on to the last question. Here, it's the easiest one. Based on the best fit line, what exam score is expected for a student who studied for 7 hours? So you go to the 7 hours studying. So here, you go up and you see this where it hits the line. Then you move left and you see what's this value. Now to find the range, look, between 0 and 16, there's one line, which means this must be 8. Between 16 and 32, there's one line, meaning 16 plus 8, which is 24. There's only like between each line and line, there's 8. So 8 plus 8, 88. And that line is 88. So that's how much the score is expected for a student who studied for 7 hours. And that's it for this quiz. I hope you understood everything. I'll be telling Tariq to do that question again once he explained the derivatives. And have a nice day. Bye.